Everyone knows that get-rich-quick schemes are too good to be true. But what not everybody knows is that it's possible to go from $0 to financial freedom in 10 to 20 years without making any risky investments or starting your own business. And I know that because I'm on track to retire after just 7 years of working a 9 to 5. So if you're willing to give me a few minutes of your time, I'll explain how to build wealth without getting lucky, why you don't need to start a business to retire early, my own plan to go from $0 to financial independence in less than a decade with effectively zero risk, and how to retire early without earning more or reducing your cost of living. And if you're thinking,
I don't know, that all sounds a little too good to be true,
then let me promise you right now that I am not selling anything. But if this video does add value, then you might want to join my free weekly newsletter where I go even more in depth on things I can't include in a video. But you only have to do that if this video is helpful. So let's get started. How to build wealth without getting lucky. 99% of people are still working past the age of 50. And if you want to achieve something that 99% of people can't achieve, then you have to do something that 99% of people won't do. But it seems like most people are just trying to get luckier than 99% of people, which is a strategy that fails, well, 99% of the time. I'm talking about the people that bet everything on Bitcoin, jump on meme stock trends, and even respond to emails from Nigerian princes. They hope that that extra risk will get them ahead of 99% of people. In other words, they're trying to get lucky. But getting lucky is not a viable retirement plan. It's just gambling, and no reasonable person would count on building their retirement nest egg in Las Vegas. But the good news is that you don't have to rely on luck to reach financial independence. If 99% of people are working past age 50, that just means that you need to do something that those 99% of people aren't doing. And at least in America, all that requires is just spending less money. Despite years of creating personal finance content and working as a financial coach, it still constantly amazes me just how much money people spend every year. I mean, 50% of people earning over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck, much less saving for retirement. So if you're willing to put in the work and save more money, you might be shocked at how easy it is to be one of the top savers in the world. And since your spending is entirely in your control, this approach to building wealth also has zero risk. But whenever I tell people that saving money is the fastest route to financial freedom, I always hear the same response. They always say,
yeah, but you can only save so much money. You can earn an infinite amount of money.
Now, that's technically true, but let me explain why frugality is way more powerful than most people think. While it is true that you can only save so much money, the amount of money that you save really isn't that important. What is important is how much money you spend. Because here's the thing, to be financially independent, you need your investments to cover your expenses. And the rule of thumb is that you need $25 in investments for every $1 that you spend per year. So that means if you can reduce your expenses by $1,000, you just magically reduced how much money you need to save for retirement by $25,000. This is what I call the 26x multiplier, and I haven't seen anyone else talk about it. For every $1 that you save, you have an extra $1 in your bank account, and you need $25 less to retire. So yeah, you can only save so much, but you only need to save so much. Once you've saved enough, you can retire early. But the other criticism of frugality is that an alternative is to just earn a boatload of money. My issue with that reasoning is that in most cases, no, you can't. Sure, there are careers that pay a lot of money, but it's not like your earnings can be infinite. The only real way to earn an infinite amount of money is to own a very successful business. And now that you understand how to retire early without getting lucky, it should also be clear why you don't need to start a business either. In fact, starting a business could actually make it harder to reach financial freedom, but more on that in a second. While starting a business is also something that 99% of people don't do, it's also something that has a lot of risk. So don't get me wrong, starting a business can be an immensely powerful way to build wealth, and it's the only way I know to make millions of dollars without climbing the ranks to become a CEO. But creating a business can also take a long time with no guarantee of it ever paying off. So if you want to start a business, then by all means, you should do it. Nothing will make you wealthier than owning a successful business. But if we're only talking about how to reach financial freedom as fast as possible, then it really might not be the best approach. It can require a lot of time and money with no guarantee of success. And while I started this YouTube channel and the Fire Friday newsletter as a fun little business in my spare time, I'm still on track to reach financial freedom in my 20s even if I never earn a penny outside of my day job. So let me share my plan to retire in 8 years with zero risk. By now, you understand the key principles behind my strategy to retire early. I realized that the fastest way to reach financial freedom was not to try to create a startup, and it certainly wasn't to put all of my money behind the hottest new cryptocurrency. I knew that if all I did was get a relatively high-paying job and live extremely frugally, I'd be able to retire before I turned 30. That's because how much money you make doesn't really matter. What really matters is the percent of your income that you save. And since I moved to a super expensive city, I started my career earning a little over 6 figures. But despite how expensive everything is here, I'm still managing to live on around $20,000 per year. And again, that's important for 2 reasons. For one, yes, it means I can save a ton of money. But even more importantly, it means I need even less money to retire. People think that the reason I'm able to retire early is because I save $60,000 per year. But that's not really the case. The real reason that I'm able to retire so fast is that I only need $500,000 to retire. Most of my friends and probably all of my coworkers need at least $1 million to retire, which would take so much longer to save. So if I can manage to save 80% of my income, I'd be on track to retire in just 6 years, at which time I'd just be 28 years old. That's a lot sooner than most people can build a successful business. And even more importantly, my approach has zero risk. And that's why, even if I do make money from this YouTube channel and from my newsletter, all of that money will just be extra. I'm not counting on extra side hustles or crazy investment returns to reach financial freedom. I'm pretty much only counting on my own savings, which are entirely in my control. But as much as I love teaching people about the power of frugality, I also know that there are some people that just refuse to reduce their standard of living. And if you're one of those people, I want to share some good news. You don't have to. Let me tell you how an average person could still retire early without living insanely frugally. In fact, a lot of people could retire just as fast as I am, and they wouldn't have to earn a crazy high income to do it. All they would have to do is leverage one of the most underutilized savings hacks that there is. I actually think that this is one of the most underrated ways to save money, and it sort of shocks me how few people talk about it. I've even talked to a lot of friends and family that have never even considered it, which is crazy because it would allow the average person to retire before they turn 40. And all you have to do is buy a plane ticket. Let me explain. Where I live near Washington, D.C., you could easily pay over $2,000 a month for a studio apartment. But if you move to Thailand, you could be living in a downtown apartment for just $600 per month, with total expenses of around $20,000 per year. And of course, if you wanted to be even more frugal, I'm sure that you could spend a lot less than that. So it honestly blows my mind that so few people talk about this as an option. This makes early retirement so much more accessible to people that earn and spend an average amount of money. And once again, this early retirement strategy doesn't require any risk on your part. So I've shared as much knowledge as I possibly can in this video. So at this point, the choice is yours. You can start saving more and reach financial freedom with zero risk, or you can ignore all of the advice I've just shared and keep trying to be part of the lucky 0.1% that wins the lottery. I'm hoping that you're convinced that saving more money is the way to go. And if that's the case, I made a video just for you. In this video right here, I go through 10 different ways that you could save an extra $1,000 per year. That's a great place to start.